Shivananda Lahiri, Shloka number 16. Virinchir bhavatu bhavata tatparashiraschatushkam samrakshyam sakhalu bhuvi dainyam likhitavan vicharah ko vamam vishada kripaya pati shivate कटाक्ष व्यापारः स्वयमपि च दीनावनपरः. अन्वय. हे विशद, हे शिव, विरिञ्चिः दीर्घायुः भवतु भवता तत्परशिरश्चतुष्कं संरक्ष्यं सः भुवि दैन्यं लिखितवान् खलु. दीनावनपरः दीनावनपरः ते कटाक्ष व्यापारः मां कृपया पाति. विचारः को वा. Lord Parameshwara, who is always engaged in protecting the poor and helpless, with a compassionate look from him, the adverse destiny written by Brahmaji becomes favorable and helpful to the devotee. After having clipped off Brahmaji's fifth head, the other four heads were left untouched, and also he was blessed with a long life. This is mentioned in the first half of this 16th shloka. And then in the next half, Sri Shankara Bhagavad Pada raises the doubt. How did the adverse destiny written on the forehead become helpful? Then he answers the same. He Vishada, O Lord, you who are blemishless and pure in form, He Shiva, O Shiva, who are an embodiment of Ananda, Virinchihi, Brahmaji, Dirghayuhu, with a long life, Bhavatu, may he be. Bhavata, by you, Tat Para Shiras Chatushkam, the remaining four heads, Samrakshyam, they must be protected well, which means please do not clip off the remaining four heads also as you did to the fifth one. Why? Because Saha, it is that Brahma, Bhuvi, upon this earth, Dainyam, the pitiable condition, Likhitavan Khalu, is the one who wrote in the head, isn't it? Therefore, may he live long. So, he who wrote a miserable, pitiable state on my head, how did such an action become the cause for blessing him with long life? Means, Deenavanaparaha, always engaged in protecting the poor and miserable, te, that your, Kataksha Vyaparaha, the side glances, that is, blessings in the form of your side glances only, Mam, me, Kripaya, with compassion, Pati, protects. Vicharaha, in this matter having deliberations, Kova, what is there? In the previous verse, Sri Shankara prayed to Lord Shiva asking him to change the words of destiny written on his forehead by Brahmaji. And those are the words which caused his mind to go after purposeless objects and entertain evil thoughts. He also asked the Lord not to be indifferent in this matter because only he, Shiva, has the capacity to change the destiny. It was proved when Shiva clipped off Brahmaji's fifth head. Having said this, Sri Shankara in this verse says that Brahmaji writes each one's destiny and also determines the lifespan for each one. But that very same Brahmaji's destiny and lifespan, you only, O Shiva, write and determine. Since you destroyed his fifth head, the existence and lifespan of the remaining four heads is dependent on you. But please do not destroy those remaining four heads. Give them a long life and protect him. Here one may think, if a long life is given to him, Brahma, then he will continue to write unfavorable words of destiny and cause pain to everyone, isn't it? Sri Shankara says, you, Shiva, have made it your job to protect the miserable and pitiable. So, when your grace is showered, in spite of the adverse destiny written on me, I will be subject to receiving your grace all the time, isn't it? So, may that Brahma have a long life and your grace be directed on me all the time. I am Deenaha, you are Deena Rakshakaha. So, may your compassion on me remain eternally. Therefore, I understand that the same adverse destiny is very beneficial to me. It is because of that very same destiny that now my mind is engaged in Shiva Aradhana. This is the meaning expressed in this verse by Sri Shankara Bhagavad Pada. Explanation for this verse is concluded here. Shivananda Lahiri, Shloka number 17. फलाद्वा पुण्यानां मयि करुणया वा त्वयि विभो प्रसन्नेऽपि स्वामिन् भवदमलपादाब्जयुगलं कथं पश्येयं मां स्थगयति नमः सम्भ्रमजुषां निलिम्पानां श्रेणिः निजकनकमाणिक्यमकुटैः. अन्वया, हे विभो पुण्यानां फलात् वा करुणया वा हे स्वामिन् मयि त्वयि प्रसन्ने अपि भवद् अमलपादाब्जयुगलं कथं पश्येयं नमः सम्भ्रमजुषां निलिम्पानां श्रेणिः निजकनकमाणिक्यमकुटैः मां स्थगयति. Protecting the remaining four heads of Brahmaji is your responsibility, He Parameshwara. Also, may that Brahmaji have a long life, because it is he who writes the destiny on each one's forehead. That too, mostly Brahmaji writes that one should experience misery and helplessness. Then they will be blessed by Parameshwara's auspicious side glances, because it is known that Parameshwara extends his side glances only on those who are miserable and helpless. Therefore, Brahmaji's writing is a boon or fortune to every Jivatma. Having prayed in this manner in the previous shloka, Sri Shankara here says, we can be a receiver of Parameshwara's glance only when we are facing him. That is, we are face to face with Parameshwara. In other words, when Parameshwara is facing us, then we can offer our worship at his lotus feet, and subsequently his kataksha or side glance will also bless us. But his lotus feet itself is not even visible to our sight. Then how to even receive his side glance is the question raised in this verse by Sri Shankara addressing Parameshwara. Hey Vibho, O Parameshwara, you who are the one omnipresent, pervading each and every atom of this universe, my, that is done by me, Punyanam, all the Sukritas, the good deeds done by me in the previous lives, Phaladva, or because of the result of the punya that has been done by me, that is the fruits as a consequence of the good deeds done by me, Karunaya va, or maybe due to your compassion. Hey Swamina, O Lord and Master, you who are Devadi Devaha, means the Lord of Lords. Mai, in matters concerning me, Tvai prasanne api, even if you are happy and express your blessings, Bhavad Amala Padabja Yugalam. Bhavat, your Amala, clear, pure form of Padabja Yugalam, lotus like 2 feet. Katham, how only Pashyayam will I be able to see Namasambhramajusham, doing namaskara to you very eagerly. Nilimpanam are the gods, devatas, Shrenihi in a long line, and Nija Kanaka Manikya Makutaihi, the golden crown with diamonds and other dazzling gems which they are wearing. Sthagayati is standing in the way and blocking me. In other words, I am not able to get a vision of your lotus feet, hey Parameshwara, because the line of devatas saluting you is blocking your lotus feet. How only will your side glance grace me? That is, the words in this shloka are an expression of Sri Shankara's earnest, sincere desire to somehow gain the blessings of Parameshwara's side glance, Kataksha Pataha. Even if Parameshwara is ready to shower his grace on me because of some merits, that is punya, earned from previous lives, this long line of devatas who are adorning the bright gem-studded golden crown appears to be blocking me, the helpless devotee, from reaching your lotus feet. So, how will I be even blessed by your side glances? Is the prayer to Parameshwara by Sri Shankara. Also, Sri Shankara appears to wonder, in spite of these obstacles, how did I gain your vision? Thus, Sri Shankara's humility and devotion is implied in this shloka. With this, explanation for this shloka is concluded. Shivananda Lahiri, shloka number 18. त्वमेको लोकानां परमफलदो दिव्यपदवीं वहन्तस्त्वन्मूलां पुनरपि भजन्ते हरिमुखाः कियद्वा दाक्षिण्यं तव शिवमदाशा च कियती कदा वा मद्रक्षां वहसि करुणापूरितदृशा. हे शिवा, लोकानां परमफलदो त्वम् एकः. हरिमुखाः त्वन्मूलां दिव्यपदवीं वहन्तः पुनरपि भजन्ते. तव दाक्षिण्यं कियद्वा मदाशा च कियती मत् रक्षां करुणापूरितदृशा kada va vahasi. In the previous shloka, Sri Shankara said, O Shiva, your side glance, Kataksha, is not falling on me because I am not able to see your lotus feet. Only if I can reach your lotus feet and offer salutations, it will be possible to receive your Kataksha. Now, reaching your lotus feet is not happening because all the devatas are crowding all around you. So, how only will I get your darshan? Sri Shankara asked Lord Shiva extremely politely and earnestly. Following that, in this shloka he says, moksha, that is liberation from samsara, can be given only by Lord Paramashiva. So, that Paramashiva, may he remove or sever the strings of raga dvesha, attachment, hatred, and other such emotional connections, and thus open my mind and take me in the path to moksha. This is the form of prayer in this verse. Hey Shiva, O Lord, the form of auspiciousness, Lokanam, to all the people or to all the Jivatmas, Paramapalada, granting the highest or ultimate benefit, Tvam, that you, Ekah, are the only one. Paramaphala means moksha. Purusharthas, that is, purpose of life, is in seeking the four Purusharthas dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, which means seeking security and wealth, fulfilling many desires, living in harmony with other beings, and finally seeking release from everything because they are all limited in nature. So, moksha is said to be the Parama Purushartha. Now, that Parama Purushartha can be graced upon anyone only by Paramashiva alone. How is this known? Means by Harimukhaha, Vishnu and other Devatas. Tvanmoolam, because of you only. Divya Padavim, the divine status, that is Amanusha Padavi, a status way beyond the reach of regular human beings. Vahantaha, all those devatas, even though they have gained that status, not being satisfied with that position, Punarapi, once again, Tvameva Bhajante, you alone they come back and worship. Now, better than Swargaloka or Vaikuntha is moksha, which only you, Paramashiva, can give. So, knowing this, they all pray to you only again, O Paramashiva. Tava, your dakshinyam, nature to be polite and civil, or kindness, kiyat, is immeasurable. Here we have to understand the word dakshinyam means knowing the mind of the devotee and granting his or her innermost desire. This is translated as politeness or dakshinyam. In this matter, no one can excel Lord Paramashiva. Also, madasha, my desire. Kiyati, how much can it be? That is, it is so much. I myself cannot measure and tell. So, mat, from me, all these ragadveshas combined with aham, ego. From this, raksham, please save me. Here, madraksham can be taken as one word also, then it will mean my protection. Karuna purita drisham, sight filled with kindness. So that kind of side glances, kadava, when only vahasi, will you grace me with. Now here in vahasi, the vah dhatu generally means carry something. But we know that dhatus or verb roots are said to have many meanings. Dhatavah anekarthaha. So here vahasi gets the sense of doing or blessing. It is Lord Paramashiva who gives Uttama Phala, greatest benefit to all the Jivatmas. There is no doubt in this because all the Devatas, Vishnu, Indra, etc., performing their respective actions attained their divine position by Lord Shiva's grace only. Yet they again pray to Paramashiva only, seeking a status higher and better than Vaikuntha, Swargaloka, etc. Now, what is this status which is better than Vaikuntha, Swargaloka, etc.? Means it is moksha only. To gain this, those devatas are praying to that Lord Paramashiva only again and again, which means only Lord Paramashiva has the Shakti or power to grant moksha. Further, Lord Paramashiva is extremely polite in nature. That is, his Swarupa is said to be Dakshinya Swarupa, which means whatever the devotee seeks or desires, Paramashiva will grant very soon and make the devotee happy. So, my desire is also not any less. That is, I also seek that same ultimate Purushartha, which is moksha. And you, being an embodiment of Karuna, kindness, please bless me with that kind side glances of yours. This is the form of prayer offered by Sri Shankara in this verse. Now, let us look at an instance in the form of a small narration in which we can see the expression of Lord Paramashiva's kindness, Dakshinya Swabhava. Once, Brahmaji created beings, but those Prajaha or the beings, they did not multiply and grow in number. So Brahmaji started to think of the different reasons and he started to wonder how to expand creation. Then he heard a divine voice saying, "Create with couples, Mithuna Srishti." Then he made up his mind to create man woman couples. But Brahmaji until then had never seen Lord Shiva manifest in a female form. So he did not know how to create even a form of woman. Again, with the commitment to expand creation, he went into tapas or deep meditation on Lord Paramashiva. Gradually, he did more severe penance, this time focusing on the Parashakti of Paramashiva. Understanding Brahmaji's mind and intention of penance, the form of all politeness, Karuna Murti Paramashiva manifested as half male and half female, that is, in the Ardhanarishwara form in front of Brahmaji. Lord in Ardhanarishwara form spoke to Brahmaji and said, "O Brahma, I am very pleased with your tapas. I bless you to continue with your Srishti Karya." And then Lord Paramashiva separated the Shakti form from himself and presented Parashakti, Jaganmata. Seeing the form of Parashakti manifest from Paramashiva himself, Brahmaji offered salutations to her. Then he spoke to Devi. "O mother, I was created by your husband Lord Shiva. Then all the other beings were also created by Lord Paramashiva. Then I created all these devatas from the power of my mind itself. Now all these created beings are not multiplying. I have decided from now on only with a man woman couple Srishti will be done. Please make creation expand through this kind of man woman relationships. O Mata, please bless us." Until now, you, O Shiva, had not even shown me a female form, so I could not create the women forms at all. All power is from you only, O Mother. So you who are power of all powers, Shakti of all Shaktis, that is, you are Parashakti. So I pray unto you, please bless me so that I can create the female forms. Thus saying, Brahmaji sought Parashakti's blessing. Then Goddess Parashakti blessed Brahmaji with the capacity to create female forms. In this way, Goddess Parashakti showered her grace on Brahmaji. Since then, he attained the power of creation. Then Parashakti went back to her abode. That is, she became part of Shiva again. Then Lord Shiva also disappeared from sight. So since then, in Srishti Karya, part of female form came to be included. Brahmaji also became very happy, and thus fulfilling all desires is possible only by Paramashiva. With this, explanation for this shloka is concluded. Shivananda Lahiri, shloka number 19. दुराशा भूयिष्ठे दुरधिपगृहद्वारघटके दुरन्ते संसारे दुरितनिलये दुःखजनके मदायासं किं न व्यपनयसि कस्योपकृतये वदेयं प्रीतिश्चेत् तव शिव कृतार्थाः खलु वयम्. अन्वया दुराशा भूयिष्ठे दुरधिप गृहद्वार घटके दुरन्ते दुरितनिलये दुःखजनके संसारे मत् आयासं कस्य उपकृतये न व्यपनयसि किम् वद इयं प्रीतिः चेत् तव हे शिव वयं कृतार्थाः खलु. In the previous shloka, it was said that Vishnu and other devatas worship Lord Paramashiva to gain their exalted status. And then again, they continue to worship Lord Paramashiva to gain an even better status, which is moksha. In this way, Brahmaji also prayed to Lord Paramashiva again. Seeing the phala or benefits granted to Brahmaji by the kind Paramashiva, Sri Shankara thought that he too will receive more benefits from Paramashiva and thus offers worship in this shloka 19. Durasha bhuyishthe. Durasha means desiring for bad objects. Bhuyishthe means filled with such vicious thoughts and desires which keep on increasing. And then to satisfy those bad desires, Duradhipa Grihadwara Ghatake. Duradhipa, wicked kings. Grihadwara, at the gates of these houses of the wicked kings. Ghatake, at that place. That is, put into the condition wherein one has to stand at the gates of the houses of the wicked kings. Now, when this pitiable condition is reached, then that becomes durante, an unending misery. Also, durita nilaye, it becomes an abode of sins or wrongdoings. Further, this leads to dukkha janake, a generation of number of sorrows. Such a samsare, a life of birth and death occurring in a cycle one after the other. Mat ayasam or madayasam, with my exhaustion due to this kind of samsara. Kasya upakritaye, who can I wish to help? Or in other words, kasya means to Brahmaji, trying to render help to him. Na vyapanayasi kim, my sorrows and pain will you not remove? Vada, please tell. Iyam, this kind of, that is, a nature of wishing to help the devotees. Preetihi, that kind of love to help. Tava, for you. Hey Shiva, oh auspicious one, if you really have such love to help, then Vayam, we all, Kritarthaha, will become recipients of such love from you. In other words, our birth will be worthwhile. Khalu, isn't it? That is, O Shiva, if you really wish to help the devotees, then in the process of helping them, you have thrown us or subjected us to a life of pain and sorrow. If this is what you like, okay, then it means we too are grateful to you by this birth alone, isn't it? This samsara is an abode of bad negative desires. Because of these bad desires only, we have to wait on the rich and affluent at their gates. Not only that, those bad desires are unending, and if at all, they finally end in badness only. In this way, we are kept immersed, circling in samsara, repeatedly committing sins. Yet, you, Shiva, are not giving us any relief from such a samsara. Then we wonder, why is it so? It appears, O Shiva, it must be because you want to help Brahmaji. Having entrusted the duty of creation and writing each one's destiny to Brahmaji, you are helping him to write Dina Bhava or helplessness as destiny on each one's forehead. That is why we are experiencing the dualities of pain and sorrow in samsara. If this is the way you express your love for your devotees, then, O Shiva, we are certainly kritarthaha. That is, purpose of our birth is served. In other words, we are subject to difficulties because you want to help your devotee Brahmaji and make him happy. So, if seeing us experiencing difficulties gives you happiness, then truly we are also satisfied with such a life. In other words, if it is this kind of sorrow filled samsara which gives you, O Shiva, happiness, then we are satisfied. Such is the feeling expressed by Sri Shankara Bhagavad Pada in this shloka. With this, explanation for this shloka is concluded. Shivananda Lahiri, shloka 20. Sada mohatavyaam charati yuvatinam kuchagirau natatyasha shakha swatiti jhatiti swairamabhitah कपालिन भिक्षो मे हृदय कपिमत्यंत चपलम दृढ़ं भक्त्या बद्ध्वा शिव भवदधीनं कुरु विभो. अन्वया, हे विभो, हे शिव, हे कपालिन, हे भिक्षो, सदा मोहाटव्यां चरति, युवतीनां कुचगिरौ नटति, आशा शाखासु अटति, झटिति स्वैरम् अभितः अटति, अत्यंत चपलं मे हृदयकपिं दृढ़ं भक्त्या बद्ध्वा भवद अधीनं कुरु. May Parameshwara's affection be showered onto me continuously, was Sri Shankara's prayer in the previous verse. Now, in this verse, he asks Paramashiva to remove the fickleness of the mind and make it remain steady in the thought of his lotus feet. He says, I cannot keep my mind focused on your lotus feet because it is very unsteady. You have to take this, my mind, in your control by yourself. Now, this is the structure of this prayer. He Vibho, O Parameshwara, the all-pervading one. He Shiva, the auspicious one. Mangala Swarupa. He Kapalin, the one who is holding Brahmaji's skull in the hand as a begging bowl. He Bhiksho, O mendicant. In this way, this verse has 4 different words used to address the Lord, and each word is very significant by itself. This monkey like mind of mine, sada, always, mohatavyam. Moha means delusion, atavi means forest. So, mohatavyam means in the forest of delusion, charati. This mind is roaming. Yuvatinam in young women, Kuchagirao in their beautiful enchanting form, Natati, it dances. Asha Shakhasu in the branches of desire, that is children, spouse, friends, wealth, etc. Atati, it roams about. Jhatiti, quickly, Swairam, without any hindrances, Abhitaha, in all directions, Atati, it roams about. In this way, Atyanta Chapalam, being highly inconsistent, may that my Hridaya Kapim, mind which is like a monkey, Dridham, tightly, Bhaktya, with devotion as the rope, Badhva, tie or bind. Ensure that the mind does not waver away here and there. Doing so, Bhavad Adhinam Kuru, please bring it under your control. This, my mind, which is immersed in samsara all the time, please bring it to focus on your lotus feet. Holding the skull as a bowl and then seeking bhiksha, O Shiva, to you I will give an object with which you may receive more bhiksha, says Shankara. What is that object? It is the monkey called my mind. If you hold a monkey and then beg, seeing the dance and pranks of that monkey, you may receive more alms. So that monkey's pranks are such that it always roams about in the forest of delusion. Sometimes it gets attracted to the beauty of young women and stays connected to them, and sometimes it hangs on to the branches of desire and jumps from one branch to the other. You, O Shiva, are omnipresent. You are an embodiment of auspiciousness. So please tie this mind so tightly with the rope of devotion that it cannot even stir this way or that. This is the form of prayer by Sri Shankara in this shloka. Delusion or moha does not spare anyone. It is defined as sukhaviyoga nimittaha, that which is instrumental to moving away from happiness. Now, this delusion we will see from Purana how it did not even spare Vyasa and Vasishtha. Sri Shuka, Vyasa's son, wanted sannyasa at a very young age. Young means even before he reached the age of Upanayanam. Then itself he left home. Seeing the young son leaving home, seeking sannyasa, Father Vyasa could not bear the pangs of separation and he followed his son Shuka. That is, even such a great jnani like Vyasa could not bear the sorrow of separation from his loving son. Similarly, Vasishtha also went through sorrow. Vasishtha and Arundhati have a son named Shakti. Shakti's wife is Adrishyanti. Because of a curse from Vasishtha, one by name Kalmasha Pada, he became a Rakshasa. Then Vishwamitra caused this Kalmashapada's body to be possessed by another Rakshasa. Thus, he caused Shakti to be killed. That is, Vasishta's son Shakti was killed. Then, unable to bear the sorrow of his son's death, Vasishtha ties himself tightly with a rope, Pasha, and then jumps into a river to commit suicide. But the river goddess does not drown him. She loosens the rope and gently pushes Vasishtha to the banks of the river. Because that river loosened the tight rope Pasha, she came to be known as Vipasha Nadi. That is, without Pasha. Pasha Vina. So it came to be known as Vipasha Nadi, meaning one who disentangled the ropes. Thus, even the great Muni and sage were not spared from the pangs of sorrow due to delusion. Hence, the prayer by Sri Shankara asking the Lord to take over his mind. Once, some devatas and rishis came to deliberate on the absolute truth of existence in Brahmaloka. Brahma showed respect to all of them. Then, what is the Parabrahma Vastu which is not subject to destruction? And what is it that is Advitiya, one without a second? This was the question presented to Brahmaji in that Brahma Sabha. Coming under the spell of Maya, forgetting that above himself is Parabrahman, the causeless cause, Brahmaji said, I am the cause of this Jagat, universe. I am the Moola Purusha, rudimentary cause of existence. I am Swayambhu, self existent, one without a beginning or change, and I am the only one without a second. So, the creator, sustainer, destroyer, everything of this Jagat is me alone. Vishnu, who was standing nearby, was also deluded by Maya, and then hearing all this, he censured Brahmaji. He told Brahma, Yajna, Jagat, everything is me, Narayana only. Without my sanction, you cannot even create Brahma. You are born of me, my navel. So, why are you talking like a fool and claiming independent existence? I am the Lord of all things. If you don't respect me, there would be no life form on this earth. Like this, Brahma and Vishnu got into a mutual verbal war. Then both of them decided to ask the four Vedas present there as witness. Then the Vedas said, O Srishtikarta, creator Brahma, and Palanakarta, sustainer Vishnu, by whom all activities take place in the universe, and the one who pervades the universe, who is called the Paratattva, and the one who is the inner self of each being which is created, that absolute one is none other than Paramashiva. Thus, when the four Vedas itself proclaimed Paramashiva as the Paratattvam, absolute truth, then it was understood that the Lord of the Pramathaganas, he who is seen with Parvati always and wears only deer skin for clothes, is the form of absolute truth, Paratattva. Further, Omkara also says that Parameshwara is the one who is Swayam Prakasha, self-effulgent, the one who is Adyanta Rahitaha, not subject to birth and death. Also, that Parvati is the personification of Lord Shiva's happiness itself. She is the Ananda Swarupa. She is not someone other than Shiva. Although Vedas proclaimed Paramashiva as the absolute truth, Brahma and Vishnu were not convinced. They were still in delusion. At that point of time, a huge form of light appeared, a Jyotis Swarupa. This light took the form of a man, Purusha Akriti, and it stood between Brahma and Vishnu. Now, seeing this Purusha, Brahma's fifth head was overcome with anger. Even as Brahma's sight fully fell on the Purusha Akriti, a trident, Trishulam, adorned the hand, then Chandra or moon adorned the tresses on the head, the neck and the hand held snakes, and also a third eye on the forehead radiated brilliance. Seeing this form, Brahma casually asked the Purusha, aren't you the one born of my forehead, Lalata, the Rudra? And then he also said, as you were born, you cried loudly. So I only gave you the name Rudra. Therefore, you surrender to me and I will protect you. On listening to these words from Brahma, Shiva got very angry and he incarnated in the form of Kala Bhairava. As Kala Bhairava, using the nails on his left hand, he clipped off Brahmaji's fifth head effortlessly. Because it was the fifth head which spoke arrogantly to Shiva, it became Ahuti for Shivagni. that is food for the anger. Seeing all this, Vishnu got frightened and then he began meditating on Shiva. Brahma also became very frightened. Both of them dropped their ego, ahamkara. Like this, both Brahma and Vishnu came to understand undoubtedly that it was Paramashiva, the who is the Paratattva. Then Shiva came to always hold the Brahma's fifth head in his hand as a begging bowl, appearing to be atoning for Brahmahatti dosha. He is seen to roam around in this form. Once in this form, Shiva went to Vishnu Loka, and then there Vishnu asked him, "O Shiva, why are you, who is the ruler, the lord of all the three worlds, roaming around like a beggar?" Then Shiva replied, "Didn't I clip off Brahma's head? To wash off that sin, I am observing this vow of Bhiksha." Then Mahalakshmi came along, Vishnu's consort, and then she filled the Bhiksha vessel with a lot of wealth. That is, Kala Bhairava's Bhiksha vessel was filled with wealth. With that, Mahadeva was very pleased and then he went to another place for Bhiksha. But just before leaving, Vishnu sought a boon from Shiva. He asked, "May I never be separated from your lotus feet." Kalabhairava said, "Okay," and blessed Vishnu, saying, "You, Vishnu, will gain the capacity to fulfill all the desires sought for by the Devatas." After blessing Vishnu like this, Kalabhairava roamed around the three worlds and then came to Varanasi, the very popular holy place for seekers, Mukti Kshetram. Until this place, the gory form of Brahmahati followed Bhairava. As soon as Kalabhairava stepped into Varanasi, the Brahmahati form left him and went into Patala Loka, that is the netherworld. Simultaneously, the skull on Kalabhairava's hand also fell down. In that place, a water body, that is a tirtha named Kapala Mochanam, came into existence. Even as all were watching the Brahmakapala fall off, Shiva started his dance of joy. Like this, the Brahmahati dosha connected to Shiva was resolved in Kashi Kshetram. So, Shiva got the name Kapalin or Kapali. Holding the Kapala, he was seeking alms. So, he is popularly also known as Bhikshu. Now, for a bhikshu, taking a monkey along will be helpful to gain more and more in the bhiksha patra. So, monkey-like mind is offered to Shiva by Sri Shankara Bhagavad Pada. He asks Shiva very humbly to bind the monkey like mind tightly with the rope of devotion and not allow it to go hither and thither. With this, explanation for this verse is concluded.